You said ready. Okay. All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Ready.
Ready? Ready?
Ready.
All right. It is 7:01 p.m. No, it's 7:02 p.m. and I'm calling to order ANC 5F's regular meeting of May 23rd, 2023. We'll start by calling roll. Let me make sure people can hear us. Commissioner Galvin, can you hear us? Good. All right. We'll start by calling roll if the vice chair could do that.
All right. Commissioner Anderson is myself, and I'm present. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Here.
Commissioner Galvin.
Here.
Commissioner Hurst.
Here.
Commissioner Pinckney. Just give me a second to look online. I don't see her present yet. Commissioner Sani.
Here.
Commissioner Williams. I do not see her present yet. We have 5 out of 7 commissioners present.
So we do have quorum, so we will proceed. We'll start with public comment. This is 10 minutes where anybody can address the commission on any subject that you like, up to 2 minutes per speaker. If you're online, use the raise hand feature, and if you're here, raise hand and I will call on you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Do you remind me your last name again?
My first name Reginald, my last name Harris.
Mr. Harris, go right
I
ahead.
live in
The floor is yours.
community, and I just want to thank God to be here and thank God for everyone to hear. And still concerned about the safety in this area. I've been noticed they have police in this area because they've been having a lot of shooting in this area, especially by the apartments up here, right across the park up here, not that far from the playground. So there's been the police present, heavy police present in this area. So then I talked about the speed bumps. I talked to Mark, y'all guys, about the speed bumps here and by Lincoln Road, by the park. If y'all heard anything from D-Lot about this area over here by Lincoln Road, about getting the speed humps there?
I can't speak on behalf.
It's still his time.
Oh,
So,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, that's, I understand. Is Mark, have y'all talked to Mark and Mark?
He's online and so he can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
and hey, Mark, how you doing?
He waves. Yeah.
Okay, the thing is that we still trying to get the speed humps in this area by Lincoln Road. And then there's another issue been about the crime in this area. And then up here by the 4th and Royal Avenue, the people in the community complained about why there's no grocery store where former mills used to be at. Now they turn it into roller skating rink, and people in the community is like people have been living here all their life, and people of color. And we don't need a roller skating rink. People are senior citizens. You got people can't able go to the Giants up here, Roll Avenue. Why we need a roller skating rink? Why we need a art gallery, a movie theater, and a bowling alley? People in the community, whoever's in charge of the progress up there and the project, they never talk to the people in the community. Have been living around this neighborhood ever since I've been here. Why we need all this up Roland Avenue? We don't need, people need grocery stores. We don't need a movie theater or bowling alley or a roller skating rink. Whoever in charge of that didn't talk with the people in the community that live around here all their life like I have. And to me, it's like a slap in the face of people being around here all their life. People retired, senior citizens, people want better projects for having things that matter. We would need an art gallery. What we need an art gallery at Roland Avenue. They said they took away Safeway from us. They took away Save-A-Lot from us. That now they have former mills. They say, well, with former mills closed, they're gonna give us a grocery store. We don't have a grocery store up where former mills at. They turned into a roller skate rink. We don't need that. The people in the neighborhood been talking about what's going on in the neighborhood. We got no problem to deal with the crime. Now we got to deal with things to help people that been around this neighborhood all their life, like I have. And to me, it's like a slap in the face. who we can deal with and start these projects that people doing these things behind people back in this neighborhood. It's not, it's totally disrespectful. And people around here all day life, like I have. I'm trying to make safety for everyone. Safety for the speed humps. Trying to make changes up Rolling Avenue. Former mills, the contract run out just like Save-A-Lot. We had the Safeway up there. We don't have a safe. We got a art gallery. We don't need an art gallery up there. We don't need a movie theater, a bowling alley. We need grocery stores that people are able to come to the grocery store because most of them in this area is senior citizens. And most of them don't have rides. They can go to the Giants, and some do and some don't. This is so sad that we don't have the thing is concerned about people in this community been living around here all their life. I've been around here ever since the 60s, and other people have been around here much longer than I have. Nobody done nothing to help people in this community. Where's the answer at? Former mills, they said when they ran the contract was up for former mills, it was a clothing store. They said, okay, former mills contract will be up. They say, we're gonna give y'all a grocery store. They lied to us about that. Whoever's in charge, y'all need to do an investigation about that because it's totally disrespectful to people in this area. I'm saying out of concern. This is what I feel in my heart, that we have been totally disrespect for the people of color in this area.
Mr. Harris, I don't want to disrespect you.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah. No, I try to give people 2 minutes. I gave you 6.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sorry.
No. This is important stuff to hear. And we'll give a chance for commissioners to answer some of the questions that you raised in a moment. Does anybody else wish to address the commission as part of public comment? Is there anyone online?
I do not see anyone online.
All right, last chance. All right, I'm going to close public comment then, and then we'll have response to public comment from any commissioner who wishes to.
Excuse me, the new ward councilman, Dr. Parker.
Yes.
This is his area. He needs to be here in this meeting too.
He can't go to them all because there's a lot of them, but he does make sure that one of his staff members is here, who is here virtually, and then he'll be speaking later on this call.
Okay, this is concern that my concern that people in the community is concerned. If you walk through a neighborhood, people are talking about how they mistreat people in this area.
Yeah.
It's real sad. And whoever y'all get in touch with, y'all need to explain how people in this neighborhood feel. You walk through the neighborhood and ask people how they feel about what's going on in this neighborhood. They tell you the same thing I'm telling you. It's like so disrespectful.
All right, let's see if commissioners want to address any of this. So
Yeah.
you have your hand up.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks so much, Commissioner Bishop Henchman, and thanks, Mr. Harris, for joining us tonight. I apologize, I'm not there today. I'm feeling under the weather and didn't want to spread it to anyone else. But with regards to the Lincoln Road, there is some good news, although the government moves slow. Nothing comes as fast as we hope it would. I know that there was new paving that was installed recently along Bryant Street and 3rd Street in the past few weeks. And I was pretty frustrated that they were doing that without installing speed bumps at the same time. It just made sense to just do that. But apparently DDOT doesn't do it that way. And so even though we have made several requests and letters, I have not heard back from DDOT on when they will do those speed bumps in those areas to help slow down those areas. And then specifically at Lincoln and 2nd Street, the good news is if I'm not mistaken, I heard that the most recent budget actually funds the Safe Schools effort to do infrastructure around schools and actually pay for that. And I know that the District Department of Transportation is looking at that intersection as part of that program. So that doesn't mean I have a time frame or anything like that on when that'll get done, but it is on their radar, and it sounds like it will be funded at some point. And as soon as I know more information, I will let you know.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. With respect to, you know, a lot of the neighborhood outreach, I'll take a little bit of heat for that because chair of the, you know, community engagement. Now a lot of the roller skating rinks and the pickleball and all of that stuff was done way before my time, but the important part is we do need to start engaging members of the community for what they do need to see. And that's going to require, it's a heavy lift. And government agencies haven't done a great job, and myself in particular. You have to go walk around and knock doors, and you have to hand things out and flyers and get to every single door. And it is challenging. People don't have a lot of time. And I'm not saying that's an excuse, but I'm saying that's part of the reality. So I will, I'd love to get, you know, you involved in that, to help get this word out, and how we can reach these people accordingly. So if we can, I have your number and email, I'll reach out to you and we can touch base to see how we can actually get the information to the people that need it, so that you can be engaged.
I want to ask you, can we get flyers to pass our flyers to the people in the community? People don't know about this meeting up at Edgewood. And I just told one of my neighbors this past week, I asked Ms. Johnson to come. I guess she's busy today, but anyway, if you pass our flyers, let people know about this meeting. We can
provide those. So we have our website, we have our email list, we post flyers on, you know, light poles and bus stops in the commission area.
And let people know,
it's on the DC's website.
And, you know?
Yeah. You know, I wish we could mail everything to everybody.
Yeah,
our budget is $18,000 a year total for everything. So, and we actually want to have most of that not go to ourselves or to mailers, but to grants for projects in the community, at least a large share of it. So, you know, we appreciate all the help that anybody can provide to help get the word out about these meetings and about priorities.
I appreciate everything y'all saying. There's no disrespect to y'all here.
No.
It's just a thing that it bothers me to see in the community how people have been left behind for a very long time. And then every time they put something in this neighborhood, they do what they want to do.
It's one of the reasons I ran. I'm sure it's one of the reasons a lot of the commissioners ran. Any other commissioner want to respond? And then I'm gonna wrap. Commissioner Asani and then Commissioner Anderson.
I don't mean to speak on behalf of Commissioner Williams because it is her SMD in which the Foreman Mills development exists. But when I was watching in the old 5E calls when all of this project was presented, and the roller skating rink is temporary until they get the permits for that building.
Yeah.
When that goes, they have said, was it Sprouts Market is the grocer that they have coordinated with. I don't know if they've fully signed paper yet.
They haven't.
But but the plan is to still bring a grocer, but until like all the permits for tearing down that building and building a new one with a grocer in that first floor, that is a temporary installation.
Okay.
They're not going to be presumably in this community for more than until those permits come.
I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yeah, that was one of the points I wanted to make as well, that some of what's going on in Foreman Mills is temporary until they get other projects in, but we absolutely hear you, and we've heard those comments from other members of the community. We surely also, I mean, I would love a grocery store closer too as well. And I think some of the other commissioners have made good points that some of these reasons are some of the reasons we ran. I think all the commissioners present today, it's all our first term, and we all ran on a platform of transparency and wanting to engage with the community. So if we aren't accessing, we're always open to ideas of how to reach more members of the community. We're happy to bring flyers to the next meeting too, if you'd like to, with our meeting calendar for you to pass them out. But certainly we absolutely hear you, and we're trying to do more office hours or kind of meet and greets in the community as well for folks who can't come to these meetings on the set date. But I definitely wanted to make sure that we absolutely have heard the comments about the grocery store, and that you're not alone in that. And but I think, yes, I just wanted to make the point that it was temporary.
Any other commissioners?
Thank you. I appreciate everything.
Absolutely.
I'll add on the development, and again, Commissioner Williams isn't here. So whatever, to the extent anything I say, if she contradicts anything I say, go with what she says, not with what I say. But
Okay.
we inherited the agreement for that development, 5E, which was our predecessor commission did it. So we're just kind of living with an agreement that was already adopted. That said, grocery store, I don't think there's a week that goes by that I'm not nudging someone about the grocery store. I live at 4th and W. Giant, I got to trudge to Giant. I got to trudge to Harris Teeter. I would much rather buy something more local in the community. So I'm there with you on it. The developer knows that. This development is only, I think they're only phase 1 or phase 2 of 4 phases. So there's more to come, and they know the expectation is that a grocery store is part of that development.
I appreciate everything y'all doing.
And we're gonna hold them to it and keep on them about it. I know Commissioner Williams has had some very productive meetings on this in the last couple of weeks, and maybe coming to the commission for some action items associated with that.
Okay.
And I don't really know how much more I can say on that, but like it's a priority, and we want to make it happen. And it's not either or. We can have a grocery store and other amenities in the neighborhood that are appealing to all people. But that said, everybody wants a grocery store.
Appreciate everything.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners? All right. With that, I will close response to public comment. And the next item is approval of the agenda. Any commissioner, I prepare a draft agenda as directed by our bylaws. I ask commissioners to submit any items 10 days in advance. By the 7th day of the meeting, so last Tuesday, I prepared a draft agenda, which I intend to, my goal is including everything that everybody submitted. And then we post that publicly for 7 days on the website. We post it in the community. We email it out. It's on our Twitter account. And we're always looking for more ways to spread the word on it. But that said, sometimes I forget things, or sometimes things pop up as an emergency that we have to add. So I welcome any amendments or changes to the agenda any commissioner might have.
Yes. So,
Commissioner Galvin, sorry.
yeah, I believe that Martha Sacaccio with DC Public Library, I believe she wanted to present in the June.
Gotcha.
Commissioner Anderson, is that correct? That's what I.
Yeah, I didn't see a response to the email confirming the May presentation. So, and I don't see her online at the moment.
Okay, so that may.
Yeah, she did. I just checked my phone. So it is June 27th. Sounds perfect. She responded just to me. So apologies for that.
Okay, so unless there's objection, we'll defer that item until the June meeting without objection. Other amendments, Commissioner Cullen?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Apologies. Making sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda from someone?
I move to approve the agenda.
Commissioner Sani has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Anderson. Is there any objection? Without objection, the agenda as amended stands approved. Next item is referral of items to committees. Let me ask it this way. Any of the action items that were submitted, do any of the sponsors prefer to send it to committee rather than act on it tonight? I'm guessing the answer is no, but I'm going to ask anyways. No.
No.
None. All right. So that item is moot. Next item is approval of the minutes of the April 25th regular meeting. Commissioner Galvan, our secretary.
Thanks so much. Commissioner Bishop Henchman distribute the copies of the draft meeting minutes on April 29th. And then I did not receive, at least not significant changes to that. And it was posted on the website around May 8th. So I'd like to motion to approve the April 25th meeting minutes as drafted.
All right, Commissioner Galvan has made that motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sani. Before I do a vote, does any commissioner have any amendments or changes to the minutes?
No.
Seeing none. All right. Is there any objection to the adoption of the minutes as drafted? Without objection. Next item is officer reports. Oh, that's me. All right. First one is chair. Let's see. Been a lot of meetings this last month. I'm gonna go backwards. So yesterday went to the annual meeting of the NOMA bid district, which partly covers Eckington up to R Street. A lot of good awards were handed out to some great community leaders and community activists who are doing a lot of work in the neighborhood. Very impressive. And so they certainly wanted me to pass along again that there is a contest right now to name what will be 3 green spaces in what is currently the ex-Wendy's space at the intersection of New York and Florida Avenue, demolition of which is still planned for this summer. So 3 little green spaces side by side. So if you've got a good name for what 3 green spaces next to each other could be, send it into the NOMA bid people. Additionally, yesterday, there was a meeting of the Ward 5 bus task force in Councilmember Parker's office. WMATA has drafted a proposed bus overhaul that includes some dramatic changes to the WMATA bus network, really for the first time in half a century, including changes to what are now the D8, G8, P6, Florida Avenue buses, North Capitol buses, really everything. So definitely check that out at WMATA's Better Bus website. Went to quite a few meetings with WMATA, pressing them on some of these things, such as either bringing back the G9 Express along Rhode Island Avenue or improving the G8 to the point where it's as good as the G9 Express used to be. And let's see, I have to report from ABCA that Lost Generations stipulated license has been approved, so they've now begun operation of their patio, and we're waiting for their permanent license, but that'll kind of transition seamlessly. You won't even notice. Eckington Hall, their agreements have been approved, but we're still waiting on the license. They have to do like one more thing, and they know this, and I've been working with them on that. And then I missed it because I was traveling, but the President of the United States and Vice President of the United States paid a visit to 5F on May 5th to Taqueria Habanero in the Bryant Street development, and enjoyed themselves. And so I don't know if anybody got to meet the President and the Vice President. I didn't, but they look like they had a great time. And with that, I'll conclude my report. Any questions? Seeing none. Vice Chair's report, Commissioner Anderson.
I'll make this brief. Commissioner Galvin and I met with some of the leadership of the DC Public Library and did a walking tour of the neighborhood a couple weeks ago. This kind of starts basically they'll start doing more community. DC Public Library staff get more acquainted with Eckington and Edgewood. They've seen the area on a map, but this was a way to kind of contextualize things. We emphasize some of the things like street safety as well, because our neighborhood has some big thoroughfares that cut through the neighborhood, and we wanted to make sure that the spaces that they were looking at were close to public transit, but also were pedestrian friendly. So that was a really great experience. And as we talked about earlier in this meeting, a representative from the DC Public Library Community Engagement Team will be presenting to us next month. So look forward to that soon.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Treasurer's report, Commissioner Hurst.
The treasurer's report is somewhat similar to the last month's treasurer's report in that our balance has only moved by $2, which was to pay for this piece of paper, which is the account statement that they mail out to us. We've had no one submit a expense request, and I want to just take 1 minute to make sure that people know that they should be sending in requests for reimbursement. Yeah. The request for reimbursement is something that it would be great if folks used. I emailed out to every commissioner. If there is something that is approved in our meetings up to this point, then it would be very helpful if people would fill out the form and email in a PDF of the receipt. With those two things, we could cut a check with our ANC checkbook, and we would be starting to actually do more treasurer business.
Thank you, Commissioner Hurst. Just for the record, could you give the current account balance that you have?
Yes, the ending balance is $9,182.67.
Any questions for the treasurer? Seeing none, thank you. Next item is Secretary's report, Commissioner Galvan.
Yes, I'll just mention that a lot of the stuff, if you don't know our website, which is anc5f.com, you will see, whether it's the meeting minutes, draft resolutions, as Commissioner Bishop Henson mentioned, that's usually posted 7 days in advance of the meeting. And if you have questions or comments on any of those, we strongly recommend reaching out to your respective commissioner and providing us comments and context so that we can be better prepared to discuss and potentially change things at the meetings themselves. I will also say that committee notices are also posted on the website on when those meet, and those are usually 7 days in advance as well. So I just encourage people to constantly look through the website because it is updated fairly often. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm using it right now because I forgot my copy of the agenda. So. I'm glad we posted online with all the links and everything. That concludes officer reports. Next item is committee reports. Alcohol Licensing Committee has no membership yet, so we will skip that, although I did just kind of give an update of the status of alcohol licenses in the area. Next item is Public Safety, Health, and Community Engagement Committee. Commissioner Galvan.
Yes, so I'm a little behind the ball right now on getting the second meeting set up, but we had our first meeting back in April. Our next meeting is going to be Wednesday, May 31st at 6:30 p.m. I will be posting that to the website either tonight or tomorrow. In advance, we'll be meeting at Tanner Park, and if the weather is not good, I'm going to try to see if we can use the community space behind Eckington Hall, although I'll have to figure out how to get access to that. But hopefully we'll have an agenda and everything set up as well. And I think to Mr. Harris's point earlier, it's not just about public safety, but it's also about community engagement. And so how do we start thinking about what needs to get out to most of the other people? So that'll be a partial focus of that particular meeting. So that's all I have for now. Get you posted. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Galvan. On the community space, and this is true for all the commissioners, you're all on a list. So if you go to the Judd and Weiler concierge, the front desk there, and ask for the key to the community space. They'll check to make sure you're on the list, and then you have to leave an ID of some kind, and then they'll give you the key. So that's how you use that. And it's just us and Eckington Civic Association, so it's mostly empty most of the time. Perfect.
Thank you.
Next is Transportation and Public Space Committee, Commissioner Sani.
Yes, earlier this month, I think probably a week or and some change ago, we had our first meeting of the transportation of the TAPS committee, as we call it. We agreed and voted upon some rules and procedures to govern how we engage with each other and how we structure our meetings, and additionally kind of giving the non-ANC commission members ways to feed back into the ANC commission so everyone's engaged. We then, once we had those out of the way and we introduced ourselves to each other as we were a new committee, we discussed the large resolution that had been referred to us by Commissioner Bynef, around the safety on with the bike lanes on 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in some capacity. And so we tried to discuss, we discussed how we could best divvy this up to tell narratives on people's active or passive transport throughout the commission area. We left with some action items, which include actually visiting intersections, trying to traverse them, trying to understand what the commute paths are, as well as Commissioner Galvan joined us, and we discussed what the community outreach and education aspects will look like so we can best engage neighbors on how to get feedback and suggestions, and also to educate on like what all the dynamics are so we can come up with a good resolution for the commission to potentially vote on. We also discussed what next steps might be in terms of things we might also pay attention to. We've had a lot of comments from neighbors about like Michigan and 7th not feeling safe when you're crossing, or I think Commissioner Hurst had referred one from 4th and Harewood as well. So we hear people on unsafe intersections, and our goal is to try and figure out a process to raise that up. Moving on from that, this past Saturday, Commissioner Bishop Henchman and I attended DDOT's open house for ANCs, where they had tables set up with all their projects and everything DDOT does, and it served as a way for us to engage the leadership for all these teams, like the people who manage tree cover on the MBT, the people who do traffic safety investigations, the people who do all the bike lane infrastructure. So it was a really good way to ask them specific questions about specific projects, as well as understand who we should talk to if we have specific issues, kind of get some of the dynamic that's going on there. We learned a lot of interesting things. I'm still synthesizing, but we've heard requests for MBT tree cover. We might know who to go to get that actually to happen, so people don't bake in the sun when they're walking down from Eckington or Edgewood. Similarly, we heard some progress on the 8th Street traffic safety plan, as well as the efforts to improve sidewalk health and to make it less dangerous for pedestrians. I don't know if there's anything you want to add on this. All right, that is it for TAPS.
Thank you, Commissioner Sani. Zoning and Development, we have not yet populated. I don't think there's a report. And then Task Force and Outreach, Commissioner Sani again.
No, nothing to report.
All right, Library Task Force, is there anything you wanted to add, Commissioner Anderson, beyond what you said already? All right, that concludes committee reports. We have a couple presentations related to agenda items. Would it be possible to get the TV working to show them to people in the room?
Commissioner Anderson.
All right. All right, why don't we, I will move.
Hey, everybody. Happy Spring Light Day.
Happy spring to you too. I'm gonna move that we recess for 5 minutes so that we can get the TV working up so people can see the presentations. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sani. Is there any objection? Without objection, we are recessed for 5 minutes. Sorry, we'll be back 7:40 Eastern. I recessed us.
Yep.
Everyone ready?
Yep.
It is 7:40. We are back from our recess. And hopefully, both in the room and online, you can see what we're sharing.
Oh, there we go.
Hopefully now you can see what we're sharing. All right.
Commissioner Gallon gives us a thumbs up.
All right. So we have some presentations relating to agenda items. The first one is BZA case 20908 relating to 638 Edgewood Street Northeast. Which commissioner is that? I forget. Commissioner Sani, why don't you MC it?
Certainly. I think we have Miss Wilson from Sullivan and Barrows representing them. I asked you to unmute yourself. Are you able to chat?
Hi, yes.
Okay, we can hear you loud and clear.
Great, thank you so much. I'm also here with Temi Dada, who's the owner of the property, and Mazen Abdul Hamid, who is our architect. So at some point, I'll turn it over to Mazen, but I'll go ahead and introduce the project and the requested relief. If you could please go to our second slide. So the property is currently vacant. It's located at 638 Edgewood, and that is effectively a corner property along Edgewood and 7th. I believe it's across from the larger condo building 601. And the proposal is to construct a new 3-story, 2-unit condo building, which is permitted by right in this zone, the use itself. However, the zoning regulations require certain setbacks for new construction, including a 20-foot rear yard and a front setback that is within the range of the existing front setbacks on the block. If this new building were to meet these setbacks, it would not be possible for anything to be built on this lot except for a 32 square foot building. I think the next slide shows that. If you could go to the next slide, please. Next slide, actually. Thank you so much. So this shows what could be built without the relief, which is obviously nothing here. No one could live in a 32 square foot building. So we are asking for variance relief. And it's just given the odd configuration of the lot. This is a triangular lot. And so the way the setbacks line up, you have one coming at a different angle from the rear and then across the front. And so it's an 18-foot front setback requirement and a 20-foot rear yard requirement that really impact this lot. And for similar reasons, we are also asking for parking relief. The parking relief is a special exception, which has a slightly lower standard or burden of proof. If you could please go to the next slide, I'll briefly walk through these. I won't read all of these off. To meet the special exception criteria for parking, we only need to meet one of these requirements. The primary issue, which our architect can discuss more if you have any questions about that, is trying to physically get parking on the lot given the site restraints. It would severely impact the project, similar to the setback relief, just because the lot configuration is so tight. For B, the property is about a 10 or 12-minute walk from the Rhode Island Metro. It's right in front of the G8 bus route, which can take occupants to the Rhode Island Metro. And for C, we look how easy it is to run an errand on foot or walk or take a bus. And then for D, the increase in the density is for only 2 units. So even if we could provide the 1 parking space, the difference between providing 1 off-street space and what we're proposing here, no parking, is unlikely to create traffic. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mazen to briefly walk through the plans on the next slide.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Mazen Abdul Hamid as architect for this project. So here we use this vacant triangle-shaped lot to create a nice block building in this corner. So we propose to have 3 floors plus cellar level. So we have 2 units open to Edgewood Street, here one from the left and one from the right. And so next slide, please. So I can go more to floor plans. No, sorry, keep going, next one. Yes, here, as you see, we have 2 entrance and 2 stairs from the Edgewood, one from the right and one from the left, leading to the 2 units. Here we are providing a setback of 8 foot, 7 inches and quarter. And the existing porch is 11 foot, so we are like closer to what's existing right now. That's why we are asking for the relief. And the other side of the property is opening to the residential alley. And we are proposing exterior stair at the back, giving access to the roof deck. Next slide, please. Here is the floor plan for the cellar unit, which is part of the unit number 1, which is the first floor and cellar level, with 2 window wells to give and provide lighting and air to the bedrooms, and another window well from the back providing light and air to the master bedroom. Next slide, please. Here's the main floor for unit number 1. We are enter from the left. We have a living area, and then we're going to the next floor. And here on the right, there is an entrance for unit number 2, which is on the second floor and third floor. Next slide, please. This is the second floor, which is the living area for the upper unit. And next slide, please. And here is the top level, which is the bedrooms for the upper unit. Next slide, please. Here is the roof deck, which is connected to the units below by this exterior spiral stair at the back. Next slide, please. This is a study showing that the area allowable for build if we are following all the setback restrictions. Next slide, please. Here's the elevation of the proposed building. We try to use similar architectural features on the area, and we try to copy or follow the same language on the adjacent buildings. So here we have the first floor. Yeah, this is the main street view showing the 2 entrances from both sides, right and left, and the windows for living area and bedrooms on the top. Next slide, please. Yeah, here's the elevation from the alley. We're just having 2 windows in the first and second floor, and showing on the right the spiral stair leading to the roof deck. Next slide, please. And this other 2 elevation, the right one is facing the adjacent building on the left, and the left one is the corner of the triangle shape. Next slide, please. I believe we are get to the end of the presentation. Any questions?
Any questions from any of the commissioners?
Would there be a fence around the top of the roof deck which would, and would that be set back? How high would that make that?
Yeah, yes. So can we go back to the view? No, one more back. One more, sorry. Yes, here we are showing 42 inches guardrail surrounding this usable area on the roof.
Okay.
Other questions from commissioners?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. My first question is for the existing masonry structure that you showed in a couple of slides. Is that being demolished or is that staying there?
No, it's staying.
Okay,
It's
and what is it
part,
currently?
It's not part of our project.
Okay, what is it being used for today currently?
It's a house.
Oh, it's someone else's home. Okay.
Yes.
How do they feel?
Yeah, so yeah, that's my second question, which is, have you spoken to the neighbors and have they provided any feedback to you?
I think Timmy, the owner for this project, is here. He might answer this question. Do you want to add anything, Timmy?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Tammy Dada. How are you doing?
Welcome.
Okay, seems like
Yeah.
my mute button keeps going in and out.
I can
So
hear you.
yes, I have, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Well-
yes, I have spoken with practically every neighbor on Edgewood Street. And I've also reached out to neighbors behind on Franklin Street. I just, walked around on a Sunday afternoon and knocked on doors and basically introduced myself to the neighborhood, expressed what we're looking to do. And most everyone's in support of it, primarily because the feedback that I've received is that that corner lot has been an eyesore for a little while because it's got overgrown trees. And, back in the day, some folks would just sort of loiter around there, although they no longer do that. But it would be great to sort of see that being used to provide more value to the neighborhood. So yeah, that's the general feedback that I've received.
So do you have a letter? at
Thank
all?
you.
Oh,
Sorry, Commissioner Hurst, go ahead.
sorry. Do you have a letter at all specifically from the house that would be right next door and would, have a new neighbor that's a floor and a little bit more higher than their present view of a.
I think I need to unmute him again.
Okay, so yes, I don't have the letter yet, but I did speak with them and advised that we will need, it would be helpful for us if they can provide us a letter of support, and they said they're more than happy to do that. So I just need to get that in front of them. So I've been traveling the last month and a half, so I've not been able to get that in front of them. But they did say they will provide us a letter of support.
Other questions from commissioners? Are there any are there any questions from members of the public in the room or online? If you're online, you can raise your hand. Use the raise hand feature, rather. Seeing none. Mr. Sani, is there anything else you wanted to say on this?
Because this is my SMD, I was invited to, I met with Mr. Dada and the architect, Mason, to look at this lot. It is currently unoccupied. There are buildings of 3 stories around, like directly on the other side of the alley entrance is a 3-story condo building.
Yeah, I see it.
And so I'm personally in favor of voting for this. Having housing in our community is important, and this lot is currently used as an overgrown parking spot for folks. So I think this would be a better use of the land. I have verified that the setbacks would not include the bus stop. It's basically in line with the properties on either side, maybe a foot or so slightly ahead. But from my perspective, it is not a significant departure from the general mix of aesthetics that make up our part of Edgewood.
Any further comments from anyone? Seeing none? Commissioner Anderson.
Just for a point of clarity, is the 2-story masonry build? I don't know if anyone who gave the presentation can see kind of the street view that we put on screen share at the moment, but is the 2-story masonry building that building that's currently visible? I assume so. I just wanted to confirm. Okay.
Cool. I will close public comment on this item, or rather close the presentation on this item, and we'll move to the next presentation, which is BZA case number 20934 relating to 628 Girard Street Northeast. I think this is one of yours also, Commissioner Sani. All right, I'll let you take the lead on it.
I believe Michael Roos is online. I've asked him to unmute himself.
Yes, I am here as well as the property owner, Rebecca Newberger.
Take it away.
Okay, this is a presentation in regards to a special exception for the 10-foot setback rule when you have an attached structure like a townhouse, or in this case, 628 is a 4-unit apartment building that is attached to more apartment buildings on either side. The images you see coming up on the screen are the front of the building and also the back. And this project proposes to tear down the existing 2-story screened porch, kind of sleeping porch, on the back and add an addition that would create two bedroom apartments. So 4 2-bedroom apartments. Currently they're 1-bedroom apartments. We can go to the next slide. This is the zoning review, just to show that we are indeed further out 17.6 feet from the.
Hang on, I think we.
Yep.
We lost you for about 10 seconds.
Okay. Am I
Sorry
there?
about
You
Yep,
are
yeah.
here back.
This is
It's back. Yeah.
okay. This is just kind of the zoning information that I can better explain with the site plan, so we can move on to the site plan. This is the existing site plan coming up, and it indicates a couple of things. On the left, you can see that the existing apartment building that's attached to does go back into the rear yard, as does the one on the right to the east. The area in dark gray is the area that's going to be removed. Next slide. You can go through these next slides kind of quickly. They're just existing floor plans. We're completely renovating the interior of these units. That's the roof plan. And then the existing elevations of how the building looks now. We can go on to the next. Here we go. Perfect. So this is the site plan showing the new 2-story frame addition being added to the back. The addition is actually set back from the side lot lines by 6 feet. So that would encourage a lot more light and air for the neighbors. We're not taking the existing whole almost 35 feet of building back, but we're actually reducing that mass to 22.5 feet to give us these 2 side yards. The addition is about 22 feet deep with some 2-story wood decks on the back. And the due to the 10-foot rule, so the property to the east is what keeps us at 10 feet. We're actually going out an additional 7.5 feet. So it's a 17.6 foot setback. Go to the next slide. Again, these are kind of floor plans. You can go to the next slide. Perfect. This does show the 2-bedroom layout for the apartments. So there'll be 2 of these, one on top of each other. You can continue on. It's the second floor. Roof plan. And then finally, we come to the elevations. So the existing architecture of the building is, kind of brick colonial, I guess you could call it. So we kind of stuck to a traditional language on the back with this 2-story mass. Again, we feel that, as far as it is coming out, that's 17.5 feet. When I met with the commissioner on site a couple of weeks ago, we reviewed, the buildings along Girard Street, and there are a couple of buildings that actually on the block come out that far with decks and stairs and so on and so forth. So we don't feel like we're asking for, a unique situation here. We feel like we're being good neighbors and coming out as far as some of the existing buildings on the block. And I think that concludes a section. Yeah, that concludes my side of the presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great. Any questions from any of the commissioners? Commissioner Hurst.
Neighbors, have you talked to the neighbors right next door? And at
Yeah,
all?
so we actually applied for a building permit for this. And through that process, we reached out to both neighbors. Both neighbors are property owners. So they are leased buildings. And so we, through that building permit process, sent letters and complete drawing packages to them. Rebecca Newberger, as I said, has joined me, and I believe our plan is to reach out as best we can to try and get letters of support from the 2 adjoining neighbors. But again, with them being, landlords, it's a little bit tough sometimes to reach them.
Okay. Other questions from commissioners? Questions from members of the public, either in the room or anyone online? You can use the raise your hand feature. Seeing none. Oh, Commissioner Gilman.
Yeah, just a quick question. Did I hear correctly? There is parking that will be on the backside?
Yeah, I think they're actually, was an old parking pad. There's still a little bit of concrete left back there that's going to be replaced, and then
Okay.
parking would happen there. It is not required by zoning, as far as I know.
Got it. And is there any plans to remove any large trees or keeping or installing new trees as part of this plan?
The intention is to keep, there is a large tree that is on the property line, and our intention is to keep that. We're actually going to probably have to redesign our footing just a little bit to create a pier footing back there to make sure that it meets, with the urban forestry arborist view. But there is a large tree in the back. I cannot speak to planting new trees.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
All right, seeing no further questions, Commissioner Sani, is there anything you want to add?
Yep.
All right, thank you for the presentation. So I think that concludes presentations relating to action items. The next item is public comment on agenda items. So on our agenda tonight is action on both of these items that you've just seen presentations on, as well as a resolution from Commissioner Galvan relating to the Department of Public Works, and a resolution relating to littering laws and trash pickups, also to DPW. And we invite any comments from the public on any of those action items, as well as anything else that we may be acting on at this meeting. Anybody in the room, you can signify by raising your hand, or anybody online, you can address the commission by using the raise your hand feature. Not seeing anyone in the room and not seeing anyone online. So with that, I will close public comment on agenda items. Next item is the consent agenda. Currently, all 4 items are on the consent agenda. Any commissioner can remove any of those items and move it to the action agenda, where we can debate it and discuss it. So does any commissioner wish to remove any of A through D from the consent agenda?
No.
None of the commissioners in the room. Commissioner Galvan, any you wish to pull?
Nope.
Not seeing any. All right. So then we will proceed to a vote on the consent agenda, which we do by roll call. So if Commissioner Anderson, as our vice chair, if you could call the roll on the consent agenda.
All right, Commissioner Anderson is me, and I vote aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
Commissioner Galvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Hurst.
Aye.
Commissioner Pinckney is not present. Okay. Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams is not present. Vote of 5 to 0 to 2.
5-0-0 with 2 absent.
2 absent. Okay.
So, all right. So the consent agenda is adopted. I don't believe we have any items on the action agenda now because we just passed them all. And FYI, for the 2 presentations, we've voted to approve it, and so we'll be preparing those materials to send on to BZA. So congratulations. Next item is other reports and presentations. The first one we discussed that we're moving that to the June meeting. So the next one is John Carlos Green from the DC Public Charter School Board. And Commissioner Galvan, I think you added this. I don't know if you want to do any introductory remarks or just go straight into the presentation.
Sure, yeah, and Jeffrey John is currently on, I believe, to join. And generally, it's just kind of an overview of DC Public Charter Schools, and I do not have a very good amount of information on this, so it was nice that you reached out.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Excuse me. Could we actually go next on the agenda if possible? We're just going through a quick tech difficulty.
Still wait. Yeah, sure.
So sorry about
No
that.
problem with that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Sorry, was that the DC Public Charter School Board wanting to go later, or somebody else wanting to go?
Yes,
Okay.
wanting to go later.
All right, we can accommodate that. Bad news, I guess, for Edwards of Spectrum Management on a presentation on 3250 9th Street Northeast.
Mhm.
Is that you? Or is that? All right. Are you guys prepared to present? All right, let's go right into that then.
Is there, which presentation would you like?
There's a, oh yeah, you.
There
you
are
have-
two.
You have two links that were sent.
Okay, that's fine.
This one? The other one?
No, not the BZA one. Well, it's a little of both.
Okay.
So why don't we do both?
Yeah.
Just a little of both.
Just let us know what you like on the
Can I just
screen.
introduce
All right.
ourselves first?
Yeah,
Where
absolutely.
should they stand so that
Yeah,
people
yeah.
can hear them?
Ideally, if you could stand here, we can turn the camera on you, so people can also see you if you want, or if you want to talk
Right
from,
here.
like, at least
Across from the
middle.
screen.
Both
Over
these
there.
are mic'd,
Okay.
so whichever side you want.
Either of these spots.
Right, this side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so first I'll introduce our team. I'm Ty Simpson. I'm actually the president of Spectrum Management, even though this is not going to be called Spectrum Apartments. You know, so
It's a placeholder.
Yes, it's definitely a placeholder. Our architect is Aubrey Grant. Our development manager is Eugene, and I keep butchering his last name, so you know. So
We'll just go with Eugene.
no, that's anyway. And then Purcell Edwards is like who makes everything happen. Let me just put it that way. So what we have before you today is a presentation which our architect is going to go through our design plan. Eugene is going to talk about what we're applying for. So we're applying for pretty much a map amendment to change the use from PDR1 to MU7.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, good. I'm on point. And then the objective here is to build it. The question is that this is a very conceptual plan. Due to the fact that we have not had the map amendment change, we cannot build residential apartments here right now. And right now, this is a concept. We don't even know if we can actually build it and make it PIN. But this is a great idea. We like the fact that they're going to go through the 5 units, 2,500 square feet and everything else. The key is this is actually in a different. This is in 5. It's next to Sonny's. We're across the railroad
5B.
tracks. Yeah, to you. So we're on the other side of the tracks. So I'm going to let them go through the details, and then we can pretty much just give a little history and a little color on the project.
Could I ask, I'm sorry, could I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
Has 5D acted on this yet? Or is-
5B.
What?
5B?
5B, sorry.
Yes.
Have they acted on it
Yes,
yet?
we met with Brooklyn Neighborhood Association. We met
Okay.
with 5B, and this is a courtesy to come over and give you all the update on what's going on.
Okay, sorry, continue.
And then, so the little color on the project is we actually bought this property in 2018. Our objective was to make it our office. So we have a small corporate office where we have pretty much 12 to 15 people in our office. Even though at the time we had over 150 employees, but they were all dispersed in the field. Great lot. We bought it, it was a tax lot, which we bought it from an individual. And this used to be a WMATA lot. So we buy this lot and we pretty much, and we bought it thinking that we had the right to build. We actually we pulled all the surveys, everything else. We thought we were green lighted. Next thing you know, we asked for something called a curb cut, to go in one way and out the other way. And we know how DDOT is. So DDOT decided to dive into the books until 1920. So they actually found something called a building restriction line, which ran directly, through the property, which did not allow us to build. It pretty much set the property back. So with the slither of land, like in the prior presentation, we couldn't do anything. We then took 2 years to have the building restriction line move. And in the process of finding that, there's also a manhole on the lot, which was not identified in any of the records that we pulled initially as well. So now we found a water line that runs under the property. So they're going to give you details on how we're building it and why we're building it, because we have to pretty much resurface the water line, to make sure, and WASA has to have access to this line. So, going through this entire process, we're now from 2018 until today. And it's like, what can we build on this lot? COVID hits, we decided not to build our office because people in our office all kind of like where we are. And I'm looking back, and if they're online, they can tell you, we're actually between 2 metro stations on Capitol Hill. So we bought another building over there, and we just combined it a few areas over there. So we expanded our offices on Capitol Hill. Then you're sitting on a lot, which we paid $1.35 million for, thinking that we're actually building a lot, which we overpaid for the lot because we thought we were going to do something really nice. And now it's like I had to call my architect. I had to talk to my development manager about what can we build that could be nice and potentially PIN, which as a developer, even though a developer is not my full-time job, how can you make money and actually create something great for the neighborhood? So this is the concept that we came up with, and we just really want to share this with the community, but we cannot do this or even get close to putting residential units there without having a map amendment. So that's where we currently are. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Ari to talk about the concept. If you have any deeper questions about the map amendment, Eugene can talk about that, as we have used Holland and Knight as our zoning attorneys who are handling the map amendment. Cool.
Great.
All right,
Welcome.
good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
This,
Yes.
Okay.
So, as you guys have gotten familiar with the site location, it's at the corner of Kearney and 9th Street. Next slide, please. So this would be the first floor, the ground floor, and as you can see, we basically had to float the building above the ground floor for the easement access, which I guess we didn't show in this exhibit, but basically it runs directly under our site, and we need to have enough ceiling clearance for Walmart to bring in their heavy equipment if they ever need to replace the site, to repair the pipes. And so as a result, it really limits what we can do at the ground floor. So we basically use that to our advantage to create some additional parking, which is technically not required, and elevate the building above the site to actually create sight lines through the building, which is kind of advantageous for the residents. Next slide, please. This is the typical floor plan layout. It is a three-bedroom unit, 2 bath. Every unit is exactly the same. One of the units is actually going to be affordable, so there's going to be a 3-bedroom affordable unit on this project, and that's a concession to go with the map amendment.
How many 3 bedrooms are envisioned?
They're all 3, so it's five 3-bedrooms. So this is just a 3D exit of the unit layout.
So it goes 6 floors up.
Yes.
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 I'll make sure you let everyone know when these go on the market. Everyone's going to want to buy these.
Oh, yeah.
what percentage affordable of the affordable unit? What, like
1 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
1 out of 5? Okay.
Yeah. All right, next slide, please. Actually, you can, it's basically the same, a mirror of the other slides. So we can go to the next slide.
Okay.
So this is the front elevation. Here we go. And as you can tell, we've opened up the ground floor. We did have to screen some of the parking, but we decided that we didn't want to make the screen full height so we can get the views through the building. And then we tried to open it up with a lot of windows and on the facade just to keep the building light and airy, given the height. Next slide. It's a heavy file. Give it a minute.
That dry each fence post.
What?
That dry each fence post.
Well, I think we get the idea.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
fence goes in last. We understand.
If you want, we can jump to the 3D. So
Yeah,
we
I
can go
think-
to the next slide.
That was the view from the train tracks.
That was a view from the train tracks.
So that would be coming from the commissioner's floor, looking the other way. And you can still have the glass going through. And those are actually porches on the end where the peak is, because it's a triangular line. And to the right-hand side, that's a point. So those are actually going to be kind of glass balconies where you can see directly.
Very nice.
You can ask that. That's a good question.
Sorry, just to clarify on the percentage thing, I think my question was misinterpreted. So are these units for sale or for rent?
To be determined.
To be determined? Okay. My question about affordability units was on kind of not the percentage of units, but like the percentage of income, right? Because there are variances, right?
So that's going to be determined
Okay.
as we're going through the map amendment.
Okay.
So it's probably going to be 80% off
Okay.
to 120%, but we don't know for sure.
Okay. It's a very large file. Bear with my computer on DC Wi-Fi.
I apologize. I tried to compress it as much as I could, but
It's the fence is being
It's
built.
building it in front of us.
literally
Yeah.
building each as we go.
Hopefully it'll take less time for you guys when you pull this up.
So can I ask a question? I pulled up the street view,
Mhm.
and it looks like you're across the street from about 2-story row houses. Is that
Here, let's-
2 to 3-story row houses? This will be a fair amount higher. How do they feel about it? So it's my neighbor's question. I asked everybody
Right.
else. I don't want to leave you, feeling.
Actually, I've talked to everybody, and we're having our 200-foot, we're having a meeting for the 200-foot neighbors, so all of us will be coming out, I believe it's Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday.
Okay.
Right, but I've already gone door to door, knocked to them. It's the same situation where they built the townhouses that are like right across the street from us on the same
Oh,
side, but same situation.
But if you look at the slide, the buildings on the other side of the track are actually taller than our building. So they're six stories plus a penthouse.
Across the track.
Across
Okay,
the tracks.
man.
So you would not be impeding any views per se.
And there's two houses directly that would this look like.
We may want to skip the next slide.
Okay.
Yeah, I see him on the
No, right.
street view right
And
there.
one-
Yep.
And one of them are for sale, and they want a lot of money for it, which I don't think
Oh,
they're gonna get. I didn't check. Right?
you got to make this building really beautiful. Maybe we'll get the money.
There we go.
There you
Oh,
go.
there you go.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
this is the view from the railroad tracks.
Huh.
So as
That's
you
some prime advertising space for all the people on the metro.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that. That might make this affordable.
Yeah.
All right.
And then this is the view from 9th Street.
Okay.
More views because we go from the railroad tracks again. And this is the final view from 9th Street looking southwest.
Great. Any questions from any commissioners? I know we've been asking questions. Any more questions from commissioners?
Mm.
I'll ask one. You mentioned 5B acted on it. What was the action they took? ANC.
They've written a letter in support of, as well as the Brooklyn Neighborhood Association. We had a meeting with them last week, and they're writing a letter in support of it.
Right. Thank you.
Good.
Other questions from commissioners? Any questions from members of the public, either online or in the room?
Sorry, was that the conclusion of your presentation? I
That
just
is
wasn't
the
sure.
final.
Okay,
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Well, I'm going to do something unorthodox. I don't want 5B to have all the fun on this. So I'm going to move to suspend the rules to add and approve an action item authorizing the chair to write a letter of support of this project on behalf of ANC 5F.
I have a question before I move for that. So just flipping through kind of the actual map amendment part. So can you talk us through like what's currently zoned for and what are we moving to kind of in plain speak so that everyone understands what we're voting to support? Obviously, we've seen the schematic of the proposal, but it's also been made clear that everything's kind of up in the air until the map amendment is made. So just like in a 2-sentence like recap, we're requesting this change to this change.
So with the map amendment, right now it's zone PDR1, which is basically industrial office, which is what the original plan was. So to build residential, we would have to change it to a residential zoning. And the easiest one to go for based on the small area plan and everything else was mixed use.
Mixed use. Okay. So it's not, the plan would be non-actual mixed use building. It would be all residential units.
Yeah, there's no way to do mixed use because we cannot have any living square footage or habitable square footage on the ground floor.
Got it.
Because essentially the building
Right.
is sitting on a water line.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hurst. Is there objection? Actually, no, we gotta do a roll call. So it's an action item. If you call the roll.
Alrighty. So just to be clear, the action is to write a support, could you repeat
I
that?
repeat it, yeah. To authorize the chair to write a letter of support to, this is going to BZA or to OP?
OP.
To OP, expressing ANC 5F support of the project.
Support of all residential mixed use to create
The project
as described,
presented.
as presented. Yep. Okay. All right. Commissioner Anderson is myself, and I vote aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
Commissioner Galvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Hurst.
Aye.
Commissioner Pinckney is not present. Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams is not present. The motion passes with 5 yeses and 2 absent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Mr. Green, I think we were stalling for you.
Yeah,
All right.
they said they were ready.
All right, we will hear from the DC Public Charter School Board. Welcome to ANC 5F. Do we have to unmute them?
Hey, how are you doing? Do you mind unmuting my colleague, John Carlos Green? Thanks, Commissioner.
Certainly.
Hello, good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you, ANC 5F, for allowing the DC Public Charter School Board to attend your meeting. I myself was a former ANC commissioner for 2 terms. I represented the U Street neighborhood. And I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, I respect and value and really, truly appreciate your public service. So thank you so much. So I'm going to be brief. I know it's 8:20, so I'll be brief. But I just wanted to come here and tell you a little bit about our agency. We were created in 1996 as an independent government agency who provides academic and financial oversight for over 135 public charter schools. These are what we call local education agencies, LEAs. There are 69 in DC, and they run the 139 campuses. We are also the sole public charter school authorizer in DC. And so we have the power to open and close charter schools in DC. I'm not sure if you knew, but over 45,000 students are charter school students. That's approximately half of the student population in the District of Columbia. They attend public charter schools. In October of 2001, the DC Public Charter School Board launched a strategic roadmap that focuses on equity and how we serve our DC students. These are excellent schools, enduring partnerships, and effective organization. Most recently, we created an advisory neighborhood commission, neighborhood strategy, and engaging with ANCs. We have a website. My colleague will share that in the chat if he's allowed. But we created a new ANC website. On that website, you'll see a directory of all public charter school campuses. If you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see in the next slide. It'll show a little bit about, these are actually the public charter schools in ANC 5F. So you have Lee Montessori, Washington Leadership Academy, Inspired, DC Prep. You have 2 campuses of DC Prep, Washington Latin, Carlos Rosario International Public Charter School. That's an adults program. And then you have Harmony. So you have a lot of several ANC charter schools in your ANC. Scroll down a little more. So this is what I want to highlight. We created a dedicated ANC webpage. On there, you'll find helpful information like which charter schools are in your ANC, the addresses, how to reach the principals, a little bit about our strategic roadmap. You'll also have, if you scroll down a little more, on the next slide, a little bit about our open public comment process. Everything that comes before the board is subject to a 30-day notice, very similar to ANC's, as well as an opportunity to have public comment. So we notify ANC commissioners and we notify the public and let them know about our public comment process and how to submit both written. You can testify in person, or you can call our hotline number and submit audio testimony. This ANC page is a one-stop shop to have resources for commissioners to engage with us better. We ask that, if you ever want to join, we hold monthly meetings. Please join us there. We ask that you, as ANCs, work with charter schools and allow us to help bridge any gaps in communication, or if you're interested in reaching out to a particular school on a particular issue. Myself and my colleague Jeffrey St. John, we're the community engagement folks to work with you guys on that end. Other than that, I have a few minutes to take some questions, so I will I'll let the commissioners take the time to ask any questions you may have.
Yes, Commissioner Sani.
Thank you for this. So of the multiple charter schools you highlighted are in ANC 5F, I believe in my SMD or on the board of my SMD and Commissioner Williams' SMD, within a 2-block radius, there are 5 of them. In what capacity does the Public Charter School Board help or manage where schools are placed, because obviously we gladly accept students from all across the city, but the pickup and drop off situations can be hairy and require multiple engagements with the community, and it's just not necessarily, in my opinion, sustainable to have that many schools. And obviously, Washington Latin is relocating to their new permanent campus soon, but I was wondering if you could speak a little to.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, community engagement is essential. We
How the planning process for
require,
that works.
yeah, absolutely. So we
Mr. Green, did you
require
hear that
school-
question?
I did. Can you hear me?
We can
Hello?
hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Okay,
you.
great. Yeah, we require when schools find a location to engage with the community, is specifically the ANC. Ideally, to seek a letter of support. Community engagement is essential. We ask schools to work with ANCs, the surrounding community, civic and citizens associations, churches, businesses, to identify any traffic and parking concerns. We also ask DDOT to be involved in the process. And we as an independent agency continue to meet with DDOT to raise any concerns about traffic, parking, or other issues. We also believe that more funding is needed on the DDOT side. DCPCSB supports increased funding for the Safe Routes to School program. And this program essentially ensures that public charter schools receive equitable support and resources to conduct traffic studies. At the moment, it's neither DCPS schools or public charter schools have the right to have these studies fully funded by public dollars. And DDOT is backed up with a lot of traffic studies, and we're seeing that when public charter schools ask for a study, they are very low on the totem pole. So we're advocating for more funding for this program.
So if I have questions about your responses to specific traffic safety measures, should I be reaching out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And we will work with the school and the community to try to address anything that we can work on together. And we've done that in the past.
Thank you.
Anyone?
Can I ask a specific question about some charter schools in my single member district?
Commissioner Hurst, our teacher in the commission. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Which school specifically, Commissioner?
Sure. There's the St. Paul's building, which houses Lee Montessori and Washington Leadership Academy.
Okay.
So there's the entry and exit into the community is well, it lacks an entry and exit into the community, especially where the Washington Leadership Academy kids come down. There is no steps. They come down a hill. When it rains, that hill is muddy and slippery, and it looks like a slip and slide. Their grass is very dead, and there's no steps. And there's a lot of concerns, especially because there's not really a stop sign where they go through, and it's a blind. And Lee Montessori built a wall that blocks the view of the cars. It's there's been a lot of emails traded from the community into what feels like dead space. You could email and get no response, or you get a dismissive response. Is that something that the charter school board would help with, or is that something that we literally would need to keep on emailing the dead space about?
Mr. Green?
Yes, well, we actually have a robust community complaint process. Commissioner, yeah, please feel free to email me and I'll connect you to our liaison for the community complaints. And what we do is we engage with the school. They have 30 days to respond to us in writing. And many times we're able to mediate a lot of these concerns, or at least bring them to the attention of the board of the school, the charter board. And we just try to work with both parties, the school and the community, to try to address any concerns. If you know, we have a hotline number, that's 202-963-0968. That's our community complaint hotline number. Or you can email either myself, my colleague Jeffrey, or the complaints at dcpcsb.org.
Mr. Green, could you give that complaints phone number one more time? Sorry.
Absolutely. It's 202-967-0968.
Thank you.
No problem.
Other questions from commissioners?
I have a question.
Oh, Commissioner Anderson.
Mr. Green, could you describe other thanks for going over the complaints process, but just for folks who are listening in, could you also describe other opportunities that are available for the community to engage? What types of things, are you seeking feedback on?
We love the community to be more engaged in our public comment process. We hold monthly board meetings. If you have a complaint, not only on a particular charter school, but maybe an education issue or a policy that you would like to see, please use our community complaint process, or I'm sorry, our public comment process. My colleague Jeffrey will share it in the chat. We're also, we want to know how ANCs are working with public charter schools. At the end of the day, the safety of our schools is paramount, and we want to know if there's any concerns with perhaps students getting to and from school. And also, the sharing of information. Our schools sharing information with the community? Are they sharing information with commissioners? And there's a lot of schools are the hubs of community, and we want to make sure that they're connected to the most local officials, which are you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Other questions from commissioners?
I have a specific question that may be more kind of a zoning question. I think we're all very familiar with that educational campus that Commissioner Asani was referencing. Are there any capacity restrictions on the building? Is that just kind of a fire code thing, or about like how many different charter schools can go and share one space essentially?
Mr. Green?
We have sole oversight over their charter agreements, which is sort of like a contract law, and specifically for their financial and academic standards. And so that would be handled by the zoning board.
Okay.
In regards to where the school is trying to locate. Many times when a group wants to open a charter school, we will give them tacit approval upon being able to locate a location. And unlike DCPS schools where this is planned years in advance and they're able to secure public land or space for schools, a lot of charter schools struggle to find adequate sites, and so it's kind of tough. So we want to make sure that schools are going into an equitable and a good place that they can be good neighbors. So and we're encouraging them more and more so to engage with community early to identify any issues that may come from it. So if you hear of anything, that perhaps this is a building that's not suitable for a school, we want to know about it, and we want to take community input.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the concerns that was raised was about school pickup and drop off, but also just making sure the students have, because it's not just the physical, it's not the indoor space that they use, but kids. My partner was a teacher at one of the charter schools as well for a couple of years, but it's like the outdoor space for recess and other amenities. So that I was just curious.
Yeah, we're asking schools to try to conduct these traffic studies, and if they can't get it from DDOT, to find an independent source. So that's something that's new that we've been doing. To look at identifying areas where traffic congestion or safety concerns are the greatest. And you know, we're looking into that more and more because we are hearing more and more complaints about traffic from charter schools. And so we want to, instead of being retroactive, we want to be more proactive on that end.
I think that's time on this agenda item, unless anybody has anything more urgent or anything pressing to say. I'll just say I live a block from Carlos Rosario, and they're a very good neighbor. So please thank them for all the hard work.
I will take that back.
No.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Green.
Thank you for your time, commissioners.
If people need to reach you, what's your email address?
They can reach me at jgreen@dcpcsv.org or by my phone. My phone number is 202-321-7303.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have
Next
a great
up,
evening.
I don't think he was able to make it, but I'll ask just in case he's lurking out there, Mr. Black from the mayor's office.
I don't see him online.
Okay, so we'll go next to Mr. Bonner from Ward 5 Councilmember Zachary Parker's office.
Hello, everyone.
Nice.
Let me go on camera. Oh, it's fine. So hey, everyone, I'm Sam. I'm a neighbor on the edge of 5E and 5F, and I'm your constituent services person for Councilmember Zachary Parker. I have some updates to share. The first one I want to share is just a sad one. I know there's been a lot of series of shootings in front of the in the Triangle Park, Franklin, Lincoln, and 4th. It's something where you know, we showed up to and are, you know, trying to better understand how to support the community. It's something I haven't had the chance to do, but I would like to find some space to knock doors in the area and sort of let people know about different resources they have and ways that we can respond. So that's something we want to start doing more regularly as we kind of still figure out what are right responses to these types of incidents in the community from the council member's office. But I do know it's an open investigation, and I've heard, though I've not confirmed this, that the victim and the perpetrator did know each other. So yeah, so you know, there are many different types of kind of, I think when people talk about crime, they just think it's one thing, but there are many different narratives, and there are different, you know, things that are happening in the community. So I always want people to be encouraged to think about these as complex systems, which ties into the budget. One of the first budget vote was last week. And there were a lot of things in it. So I'm going to have a list of them, and I can send you if you go to ward5.us/news, you can see our most recent newsletter, and it has a little more full, and you can also sign up or see other past issues if you click on subscribe or past issues at the top left. The main thing that ties into what I was saying before is, you know, one of the big wins we did get in the budget was Councilmember Parker had introduced a School Safety Enhancement Act, which, you know, was a response to the fact that given there was so much debate around SROs or, you know, police in schools, whether you go more or less, and that was really kind of the end of it. And even in the mayor's proposal in the budget, she just froze it at where it is right now, essentially. And given the huge police attrition crisis that we're seeing, where, you know, the police forces just is not able to hire police officers right now, we have to start having the conversation as a community about what does it look like to have an unarmed position of authority, a safety professional. And what was encouraging about this budget cycle is our vision, or our kind of call to action to think about what this could look like, a position that we could put in even in elementary schools where we don't want someone with a gun necessarily, and a position that is able to coordinate all the different safety pieces. You know, what would that look like? What would their uniform look like? What would their role be, and how could they best fit in there? So yeah, so there's a committee that was passed that they're going to work with the deputy mayor of education to start to kind of explore what it would look like, what it would cost, and have that ready for the next budget cycle. So these are longer term conversations. You know, obviously this is just in the school, but we need to start thinking about this as a community, about what do these alternative safety professionals look like, and what is their role, and you know, who in the community is already playing this role that could step into this position. So I'll say that was one of the shining parts of the budget, and I'll end with a bunch of other good wins. But I want to say the one bummer or the sad part about the budget was, you know, it still fell short in so many ways. There were huge cuts across the board for a lot of basic needs in the mayor's proposed budget. The council did bring the emergency rental assistance back up to the previous level it was at, but you know, we are out of emergency rental assistance 6 months early, and that's what we brought it back to. So it probably will only last us 6 months again next year. And there are still so many other things, including food stamps or SNAP, giving SNAP a raise. You know, there's to be able to help low-income families have their, you know, be able to buy food and buy enough food. That was unfunded, and so many other things that were not funded included our child tax credit, which would reduce child poverty. The council member proposed there was a commercial real estate recorder deed fee that had been introduced 4 years ago by the mayor to help balance the budget. It was sunsetting, and he was saying, let's not sunset it, let's continue it. So that given how much we are focusing on recovery of downtown and giving for tax abatements for residential conversions downtown, we need to also live up to our end of the deal with the everyday folks, the poor folks in our communities who are barely making ends meet in one of the most expensive cities. And increasing emergency rental assistance, funding all the things I just talked about, plus more, including, also keeping seniors, the No Senior Hungry Act, it also funded that, and which right now is unfunded. Unfortunately, the votes were not there for it, sadly, and so we missed an opportunity to fund so many different communities' basic needs. So that's the sad part. In terms of the wins, if what we did pass, I'll start with, you know, focus on ANC 5F. There were $200,000 invested for enhancing security and cameras at Edgewood Commons. There was a number, I think 11 million to continue developing concepts for the redesign of North Capitol Street, as well as to sort of later on in the financial plan to overhaul, I guess New York Avenue is not, that's in 5E. So yeah, McKinley Tech.
It goes into ours too, so we're right on the border. So.
Okay. McKinley Tech got $100,000 for replacing the roof, and there was more for footprints at Langley, and also 25 million for the new library in Edgewood and Eckington, as well as 19 million for the modernization of Harry Thomas Rec Center. There's more which you can see at ward5.us/news, and it kind of goes across a variety of different areas, so you can dig in deeper, and happy to answer any questions, or if I don't know the answers, I will take them back to our team and share next time. Although one other thing I'll say, it did fund 24-hour bus service on 80, though I think, Commissioner, you already said that, so sorry if that was a repeat.
Oh, that's good. Thank you, Mr. Bonner. And let me, before we do questions, express my appreciation, certainly, and if not the whole commission's appreciation for the council members' leadership on the budget. You kind of went through the big picture stuff, but I'll just emphasize renovations to Harry Thomas Rec Center. It's great that that's in there. Making sure the library, the Eckington Edgewood Library, didn't come out of the budget. That's great that's in there. At least as of right now, a third entrance to the Noma Metro Station is in there. That's good. As well as the improvements to Edgewood Commons and McKinley that you mentioned. So thank you. Please express to the council member our appreciation for his work on all of that. We'll do questions.
Absolutely. Well, one more thing I'm realizing also, because I know it was brought up earlier, the Safe Streets for Students Amendment, so doing safe street improvements around schools, that also was funded.
That's a big deal. That's been unfunded for years. All right,
Yeah.
Mr. Sonny.
Thank you for this, Sam. It's exciting to hear what you all have been able to fight to get funded. Along those lines, as you're well aware, as you joined us on the Vision Zero Walk, traffic violence is a huge issue in 5F. I know if I recall, the Vision Zero Omnibus Act was partially funded or unfunded, and I think this might have been the second year in which that was eligible for funding, and I think there's a time in which it just gets taken off the books if it's not funded. Do you know if that was included in the budget that is coming out of council?
So it's the Vision Zero.
I think it's Vision Zero Omnibus Amendment Act.
I'm not sure. I've not heard about it, which makes me think that it was not, but that may not be true. So let me ask.
Great. Appreciate it.
And I can get an answer back.
Other questions? Commissioner Gall.
Yeah, I'll just say, I appreciate all of the work. There's a lot of really great wins here, and surely some disappointments, as there will be in a tight budget year. And also, that Commissioner Sani mentioned, traffic violence is pretty awful in our area, and I constantly see people put in very dangerous situations. And I know there were a couple Washington Post articles that went out recently about the number of people with massive egregious fines, and I hope that the council member will consider picking that up after the budget season to see what opportunities to remove dangerous drivers off the road. So I hope that we can help partner together on that.
I know that there was a huge kind of public roundtable today in the Transportation Committee about
like 9 hours
enforcement in general. I was answering calls and doing constituent services stuff, so I was not able to listen in. But
either the council member very good about darting behind his camera every time he was called on, or he actually sat through the whole thing today. So great. Anything else, Mr. Bonner?
Can I bring?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Can I ask one quick question?
Absolutely.
Second quick question. The union, the DC Public School Teacher Union, contract went through. There was the pay raise that was, agreed to, and the payment for back pay was supposed to be made on May 19th. And then May 19th hit, and they only partially paid it. There's a lot of angry teachers who would really like all the back pay to have been paid on the date that it was promised. Is the council member able to do anything about that? Because it would be much appreciated from many of the teachers I work with.
Mr. Bonner?
That is a great question. I loosely had heard that there was some issue with it. I don't have any insight on it, but again, I will text my team and see if they have any thoughts, and we'll drop in the chat or also follow up over an email when I learn more.
If you want to email Commissioner Hurst or myself, and then I'll make sure to send it out to the public so that they know the answer to the question too. All right. Thank you, Mr. Bonner. Till next month.
Thank you all. Oh, and I'll
you.
drop my contact in the chat.
That concludes other reports or presentations. Next item of business is appointments to committees or task forces. We had previously noticed Scott McFadden's appointment to Transportation and Public Space. And actually, with the commission's indulgence, I'd like to add a few other names. So I would like to move to suspend the rules, to amend the agenda, to add as appointments the following names. To the Library Task Force, Elena Pitt and Aaron Garrett. To the Transportation and Public Space Committee, Nick Chiolis, Brant Witt, and Joshua Blatt. To the Zoning Committee, Zoning and Development Committee, Chris Johnson, Elena Pitt, and Caleb Watney. And to the Public Safety Committee, I know that has a longer name, but that one, Michelle Keegan. So I'd like to move to add that to the agenda. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Commissioner
Yeah.
Sani. Is there any objection?
Can I make an amendment to that suggestion?
Yes.
There was Michelle, I think her name's Coughlin, who was a member of the alcohol licensing. I did speak to her and she said that she would be willing to chair it. Can we add her to that list to be chair?
All right, we will add that. Is there any objection to adding that to the agenda as well? All right.
No.
Without objection, the agenda is so amended. Let me ask, is there any objection to voting on these all on block, or does any commissioner want to pull any of the names out for separate action? Seeing shaking heads. All right. So
no, that's fine. I'll just need those names because I couldn't type fast enough.
Yeah, I'll send them to you. I'll read them one more time. Elena Pitt, Aaron Garrett to library, Nick Chiolis, Brant Witt, Joshua Blatt to TAPS, Chris Johnson, Elena Pitt, Caleb Watney to ZAD, and Michelle Keegan to public safety. And then Michelle Coughlin to alcohol, and then we had publicly noticed Scott McFadden to TAPS. So I will move that we adopt all of those appointments on block. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hurt. Got it in before.
Sorry.
Is there any objection? Without objection, those individuals are all appointed. Any further appointments anyone wishes to make? Seeing none, we'll go to announcements, and we'll go to my left. Commissioner Anderson passes. Commissioner Sani?
Yeah, two things. Actually, no, one thing, because I talked about the DDOT meeting earlier. There are only 2 open streets events this year. One is the Georgia Avenue one, which we all know is great, and one is, for the second year, the one on 12th Street Northeast. It was, from what I hear, one of the most popular or more popular open streets events in the city. So because of that, it is now longer and longer in that it stretches all the way from Franklin, Michigan, and it's going from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. This will be June 4th, which is Sunday. So just a great way to come out, see your neighbors. I'll be there, so come say hi. There'll be a lot of events for families. And yeah, that is my announcement.
Thank you. Commissioner Hurst?
No announcements.
Commissioner Galvan?
He's coughing right now.
All right, he's coughing.
Okay. All right, I'm here. I had a few announcements. I'll try to make them quick here. I know we're running out of time. There was a community engagement academy by NPD. I'll drop that in the chat for that. We're looking for interested parties to join in. There's also a Paint Care is hosting a paint recycling drop-off and giveaway at Ida Wells Middle School on Saturday, June 10th. So if you have some extras of that, you can take care of that. There was also some really good engagement on May being Mental Health Awareness Month, and some really great resources that if you see someone who may be at risk, and you know the phone numbers to call, so I will quickly drop those in the chat, and both for adult services and for youth services as well. The private security camera rebate program is also still available for $500 for residential properties. So I encourage folks to take a look at that, and I'll try to drop those also in the chat box. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Galvan. And then for myself, New York Avenue is part of our commission area, contrary to popular belief, as is Florida Avenue. And Thursday, there will be a meeting on Florida Avenue bus priority project plans. So this is being convened by the District Department of Transportation. It's a virtual meeting, 6 o'clock to 7:30 on Thursday. The information's on DDOT's website, and if you can't find it, let me know and I'll send it to you. But we're looking very forward to improved bus service. It's basically from the Wendy Circle west, but then we're also going to look at Wendy Circle and then look past it. Farmers markets, there is a Bryant Street Farmers Market every Saturday, and then a Tanner Park Farmers Market also every Thursday, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. So stop by and check out stuff. And we have 2 remaining movie nights in Tanner Park at dusk. May 31st, come by and see Cruella, and June 7th, come by and see Devil Wears Prada. Brought to you by the NOMA Bid District. And that's all I have. Is there any further business any commissioner has? Seeing none, someone like to move to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Commissioner Hurst moves to adjourn. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Anderson. Is there any objection? Seeing no objection, we stand adjourned at 8:56 p.m. Thank you all. Our next meeting will be June 27th.